Largest brush fire still active at this hour. Thanks so much for joining us on ABC 6 News First at 4. I'm Tiffany Murphy. That blaze started Wednesday night in West Greenwich, quickly spreading to 150 acres. ABC 6 News reporter Daniel Coates is at the command center for this blaze right now. And Dan, can you still smell the smoke in the air?
Well, Tiffany, you can't necessarily smell the smoke from that fire that was sparked about 28 hours ago or so yesterday. But what you can see still are dozens of emergency crews just behind me, 65 personnel on hand to be exact from 12 different departments. And if you take a look down to my right, you can see the lane where those emergency crews are going towards the edge of the 150-acre radius where the largest brush fire in Rhode Island continues to take place at this hour. And we're learning today that the fire is for the most part contained. Still some hot spots in the thick and rugged terrain. We were actually able to get an up-close look at the edge of the 150-acre radius. You can see charred earth and some faint smoke still coming off the ground. Thankfully, we learned no one is hurt at this hour, and as the smoke clears, West Greenwich's emergency management director says they'll still be working into the night to put out remaining hot spots and safeguarding the surrounding area.
We can get to it. It's just a little bit slower going, and there's no risk to structures, there's no risk to life. So we work very deliberately and safely. I'd rather have it be a little bit longer time than to work fast and somebody get hurt. So safety is our primary concern at this point.
Governor McKee is actually expected to arrive here in about an hour or so to assess the damage and assess what is being done in one of Rhode Island's largest brush fires in its history. So stick with ABC 6 on air and online for continued coverage. For now in West Greenwich, I'm Daniel Coates, ABC 6 News.
And as you can imagine, this situation leaving those in the area terrified as firefighters across New England work to contain those flames. Providence Now reporter Yanni Tregellis continues our team coverage.
This West Greenwich brush fire continuing to burn more than 24 hours after it first ignited. Speaking to some neighbors in the area, they all were terrified. One person I actually spoke with, Kristen Watson, says she saw the fire when it first started and called 911. She said that authorities told her they were already on their way to that fire, and from there, the fire, it did spread rapidly, totaling over 150 acres of land. Watson told me that she was in her house with her husband and their kids, and they were terrified, afraid they were going to have to evacuate. She said her young kids, they were afraid that the house was going to catch on fire. She said they could see the smoke outside, they could hear the firefighters, and they could see those helicopters above them dumping water on top of the flames.
We were afraid that.
And another fire to tell you about, this one in Smithfield. Crews, they're still at the scene at this hour putting out hot spots. Smithfield Deputy Chief Michael Dexter says no one was injured and no property damage to report there. Dexter said they were able to prevent that fire from spreading to a nearby home, and because of the warm weather, extra companies were called in to battle the flames. First up for a live look over sunny Providence, let's get a check of our forecasts with Providence Now Chief Meteorologist Jeff Banson.
Hey everyone, I'm here right along the Providence River trying to get some relief from this heat. We are seeing temperatures well into the 80s and getting close to 90 degrees in a few spots. We could hit our first 90-degree day today. That is just incredible, considering that we normally don't even hit 80 degrees until May 4th. So we are months ahead of schedule here across southern New England. It's a nice day, lots of sunshine, no clouds, and the humidity is low. The air mass that is in place is very dry. For that reason, though, there is a elevated fire weather risk. And of course, we've had those red flag warnings here a lot over the last week or so. Definitely have to be careful with flames. And you can kind of hear that wind as well. That's another reason that they are stressing a lot of caution with any kind of open flames. We have changes on the way this weekend, some cooler air coming back into the forecast. I'm going to talk about that coming up. Let's just look at this nice view here we have along the Providence River. Actually saw some jet skis come in here a little while ago. Folks trying to take advantage of the relatively cooler air right above the water. That's the place to be today for sure. We'll be back in a bit.
So as we warm up into the 80s, it might be tempting to have a beach day or take a dip in the ocean. But Providence Now meteorologist Skylar Spindler explains why you shouldn't go into the water just yet.
Well, the water temperatures around New England are currently in the mid-40s, and with temperatures this low, you can risk hypothermia and cold water shock. Water below 50 degrees, you will have a loss of breathing control. You'll have an increase in your heart rate and an increase in blood pressure. You'll also have confusion. When you're in water that's below 60 degrees, you do have a loss of feeling in about 10 minutes. And water below 70 degrees, your core body temperature drops and the rate of survival time is less than 1 hour. So if you choose to go to the beach over today and tomorrow, maybe just try to go in with your ankles just to cool off a bit. But remember, just because it's hot outside does not mean that the water is warm.
And on the Gulf Coast, Providence Now meteorologist Nick Morganelli is at the National Tropical Weather Conference to give us a closer look at this year's hurricane season.
Good afternoon, Rhode Island. Normally I'd say this is a tough assignment, but with the summer preview in the Ocean State, maybe it isn't so tough. Me being down here, I am in Texas. I'm on the Gulf Coast, South Padre Island, Texas, the location for the 12th annual National Tropical Hurricane Conference. This conference brings together about 100 meteorologists, experts from the National Hurricane Center, and the forecaster for the seasonal forecast for the hurricane season, Dr. Phil Klotzbach from Colorado State University. He revealed that forecast this morning for a lower than average number of hurricanes total in the Atlantic for this upcoming season. One of the factors in that, El Nino, the warmer ocean waters in the Pacific. Eastern Pacific. So we're going to talk more about that. We'll bring you that story and much more. Jeff Banson will have that later on tonight and tomorrow. And of course, his forecast, continued summer preview for tomorrow before the weekend cool down with a few showers. Have yourself a great night.
Nick with a really great update. Thanks, Nick. Some heartwarming news for the Boston Marathon. One of the most beloved icons of the Boston Marathon will be honored at this year's race. Providence Now anchor Terrell Asak has more.
Preparations are underway for the 127th Boston Marathon. The 26.2-mile race, it kicks off on Monday, and one of the most beloved fans known around the world, Spencer, the Golden Retriever, he's being honored. Unfortunately, Spencer died earlier this year, but the Golden Retriever was an icon for holding the Boston Strong flag at his spot along the route near Ashland State Park for 9 years. And now race fans and runners alike will be able to see Spencer's portrait displayed right in Hopkinton, not far from the starting line.
A traffic alert for the season. Rhode Island announcing the start of its construction season. Governor Dan McKee, along with Senator Jack Reed and the DOT, launching the I-95 resurfacing project in Richmond today. Both sides of 95 from the Connecticut state line to Baker Pines Bridge in Richmond will be resurfaced. That's 18 miles in all. Rhode Island so far receiving $700 million in federal funding for roads and bridges. To local entertainment news at 4 o'clock, Warwick Police might be featured again on live TV. Chief Connor Bradford telling ABC6 News the department is in discussions with On Patrol Live, and it's looking like they're going to join. Warwick Police Department last featured on A&E's Live PD back in 2018 and 2019. On Patrol Live is hosted by Dan Abrams, who also hosted Live PD. It airs every Friday and Saturday on the streaming service Reels. New at 4 o'clock, a Providence man identified as the leader of the Trinitario street gang sentenced to 3.5 years in federal prison. 42-year-old Juan Guerrero found guilty of being a felon in possession of ammunition. Back in October 2019, police were investigating a shots fired call. They found Guerrero with 9mm cartridges. They were able to match those shell casings with the ammo he had with him. Police arrested him just 10 months after he had gotten out of prison for serving 15.5 years on a federal drug trafficking charge. Now to developing news at 4. Massachusetts State Police investigating the death of an infant girl in Revere. The baby's body was found in a trash bag near a garbage bin outside of an apartment complex Tuesday evening. Investigators say that infant appeared to be full term and was white or light skinned. The chief medical examiner says the cause of death has yet to be determined. State police are asking anyone with any information about the infant to call them. Just ahead on ABC6 News, first at 4, jury selection beginning in the high-profile Dominion Fox News lawsuit. We will break down the case for you. Plus, police making an arrest in the death of Cash App founder Bob Lee after he was found stabbed to death in San Francisco. and another gorgeous day in the Ocean State. How long will this beautiful weather stick around? Jeff Banson joins us with our full forecast just ahead.